Okay, so we'd like to convert these entity relational diagram to a relationship, a set of relations, actually, set of relations. So the relations are the step that is going to take us a step closer to generating the database. Why do we need to go through this step? This is important because the cardinality of a relationship is going to end up, in some cases, having to create a new relation based on some special cases. And in some other cases, it will just result in an attribute that is going to be doing the connection between them. And that's what I'd like to give you as an example with this. I'm taking just this as an example, but basically I would like to do that. So first of all, we said the rules are we convert every entity becomes a relation. And basically the relation is just a name with the attributes that the entity has will have the same attributes now in a relation. And I'd like to start with doing that, so I'll explain it. And then we're going to talk about the cardinality ratios and what they do. So first of all, let's just do with these ones, this 1 and 2. So this rule 1 and 2, what it does is just we're going to convert every entity to a relation. So what is a relation? Let's start from the right, for example, this artwork. Artwork, this is how I can represent it as a relation. I just give it the name, and then I open a parenthesis, and then inside I'm going to put all the attributes of this entity that are going to be coming like the attributes of this relation. I'm going to start with the key attribute. Now the key attribute, if I have many in here, because I might have more than one, that might be, this is like a potential, as I mentioned earlier, potential primary key that is going to be in the table of a database. But now in this relations we're going to select only one. If we have many potential ones, we will have to choose now. So we need to choose which one is going to be. Now in this case I have only one, but in some other cases I don't know if we can have, like for example here, see, for this department we have decode and dname. Both of these are potential primary keys. I'm just saying primary keys because remember the definition of a primary key, right? What is a primary key? It's a unique. It's a field that is going to be unique, which means if I put a value in there, I cannot put the same value again. So that's what this means. So anyways, now we'd like to do the same, but this time if we have many of those and we need to choose from, we will choose only one. And remember I said that if you have the option to choose between one key attribute that is a number and one key attribute that is a text, it's always better to choose the number. Why? Because of its space consumption or requirement. It takes less space. A number takes less space than a string. And why does a number take less space than a string? Now every letter is going to take like minimum 8 bits, maximum 16. Each character of in a text, while 16 bits might be what an int is all about. So the whole number is going to fit in 16 bits, while just one character might take 16 bits. So if you have computer science department, now this computer science department has many letters in it. Each one of them is going to take 16 bits. C, 16 bits. O, 16 bits. And then so many of those. While if you give it a number, then this number is going to take 16 bits. So obviously it takes less space. And it's going to be much clearer because when we make a relationship, they're going to be foreign keys that are going to be created. And we talk about the foreign keys very slightly previously. We're going to talk a lot about them now, inshallah. And this foreign keys is some kind of redundancy that is needed to make the relationships work. And we're going to see that in a minute, inshallah. But now, just to summarize, when we have many, when there are, I mean, maybe this is just part of, there are many potential key attributes and attributes, so we will choose one. We'll choose one. Now, I'm saying potential key attributes. I'm not saying that I have many attributes that are the key. And there's a distinction that we'll discuss later. Because we might have a key, like say the primary key, might have many attributes. That is the primary key. But this is not what I'm talking about. But let's defer to that later. I'm talking about individual potential key attributes. So that's what we're talking about. When we have many of them, we'll have to choose one. So that's what we are going to be doing. So let's continue basically here. And you know what, let me save this. I don't want to lose that and edit it again. So now we have the artwork. We only have one key attribute, so there is no decision to take. And just I need to mention title. And then because it's a key attribute, I'm going to put it underlined. And then I put the others. Is there an importance in the order? No, you can choose any order you want. We just, for clarity and consistency, we always put the key attribute first. Even though it's not really necessary, but just I personally prefer it this way because we can just clearly see which one is our primary key, our key attribute in this case, immediately. Now the rest I can just put them as any order that makes sense to me, or that just you can put that like this. So now this is the relation that has these attributes. This one is the primary key because it's underlined. I don't know if it's clearly underlined, it doesn't show clearly. And the others are the attributes of that relationship. I don't think, let's just keep it like this. Now we'll do the same with the rest, with each one of them. So let's go ahead. We have group, right, that has name, and then the name is underlined and the group is the name. And then we have customer, and the customer that has name, address and amount, and then the name is underlined. Okay, then artist that has the name, birthplace, age, style, and the name is underlined. Do we have any more entities? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all we have. So now that we have done this, now we need to have a look at the relationships. In the relationships, we don't care about the minimums. What is important for us is the cardinality ratio. What's the cardinality ratio? Well, basically we're looking only at the maximums. So let's say, for example, we have artwork and group. They have this classify, like we have like one artwork can be classified in many groups, and one group can have many artworks. So this many to many, that's the cardinality ratio. When we have many to many, we need to do something, which is when we have many to many, a new table or relation in this case is added with the primary key, well, which is in our case with the key attribute. Oh no. Being the combination of all foreign keys from each relation table. Okay, now this foreign keys is something that we need to be talking about. So anyways, we'll talk about, but let's just start with a simpler example. We're going to start with, well, we don't have here, all the relations are many to many. Oh no, we do have one, paint. So you see here the paints. An artist paints many artwork. An artwork is painted by only one artist. Okay, so when we have this type of relation, that means we have one to many. When we have one to many, a new column or new attribute is going to be added in the relation from the side of the many. It will be the foreign key from the relation from the side of the one. I just would like to explain this because I tried to make it as clear as possible, but still. Now we have this here. Now this, an artist can draw or paint many artworks, and one artwork is drawn or painted by one artist. That's we said that this is one of like some kind of an assumption that we had to make. There's nothing that says so, but we assume that one artist only draws. I mean, one painting is only drawn by one artist, not two people drawing together. So when we have this one to many, we need to make a relationship between the artwork and an artist. Now, how to make a relationship between here? We need to put something here. Either here we put the name of the artist next to the art in the artwork, or we need to put here in the artist, we need to put his artwork. Now if we put like here something like this is the title of the artwork title, let's say artwork title. So if we do this, because we have one artist can have many artworks, this is going to force us to do something not really what is kind of good thing to do, because now when we do these type of things, this is what is going to be, this relation is going to be doing something. Let me just open this Excel sheet because I'd like to show you. So imagine now this is going to be, now this relation is going to be converted to a table, and that this is this artwork, right? So this is the the artist. So in the artist, this is we have a name, birthplace, etc. So we have the name, birth, place, age, and then style. And now we're going to be adding this artwork title. And now this is going to, let me just show this as some kind of a table. So every artist, let's say, let me just do it like this. Every artist is going to be having these information that he has a limited name, and basically the name is something that's going to be unique. So I'm just going to put some A1, A2, whatever. So we have many artists, and then we have all these age, whatever, style, etc. But here in the artwork title, we need, because of this, we say that one artist can have many artworks. So he might have many artwork titles there. So we can have like whatever, title 1, and then what should I put? Comma title 2. and then another comma depending on how many titles. If someone draws a lot, we need to put all these next to here. Or the other option is to make a copy of this and insert it. How can I insert copied cells and shift them down? I need to insert this again, and this now put artwork 2, title 2, etc. But this is not an option. Do you know why? Because if he has another one, I need to insert again and title 3. But this is not possible. Why is it not possible?
Because the name is
because we said the name is a key attribute, and in this case, if I represent it like a table, it's a primary key. Now this primary key does not allow to have the same value in that column again. So I cannot do this. So I will have no option but to put like title 1, title 2, okay, it's gone. Title 1, title 2. And that's not something that is going to be easy to update. What if, for example, the name of the title was changed, or I need to put some kind of extract some information about how many titles should I need to do? This artist has. This is something that is not going to be something that we want, because there are many values in one column. That's not something we'd like to have, because for every row we'd like to have one value. Like every artist has one name, one birthplace, one age, one style, and that's it. We need to have one artwork, but this is not possible because we would like to be able to store many artworks to this artist. So this is not what we're going to be doing. So we're not going to be doing this. The other option is in the artwork, we would like to add the artist name. So the artwork, we said it has the title, the year, type, and price. Let's just put it this way: title, which is the key attribute, a year, type, and price, right? And then we'd like to add the artist name. Now if we do such a thing, so we have, let's say, title 1 with this year, whatever, and type, etc., with the price, and then the artist name is A1, for example. And we have another title T2. I'm just going to with another year, etc., and then we have artist 2, artist 1 again, and T3, whatever, and then artist 2, and so on. We can have something like that. Now we put a restriction. We cannot have like the same title again. I can put artist 1. Now this makes more sense, because for every artwork we know what's his title, what's his year, the type, the price, and who is the artist that is going to be associated with it. Now this now makes more sense, and this is going to be whatever we're going to be doing. So that's why the rule says that actually when you have one too many, a new attribute is going to be added, but where? So which one is going to be the one that will make sense? Well, there's a rule. We're not going to be trying to always look at this. So when you have this type of relationship, there's one from the side of the n and the other one from the side of the 1. Well, basically in this case, I mean, it's not the right approach, because I did not mean the right approach. The one that I used here, this representation, is not with this kind of representation of the entity relation diagram, but with this one over here, when we mentioned that the cardinality is on the right side. So like, for example, here one person owns zero or many cars, and one car is owned by only one person. So this is where this is. But when we have this representation, it represents the n not on the same place, because one artwork can be associated to one and only one, but actually it does. It's always on the same. No, it's the same thing. So no, I was confused. I thought maybe it's the different sides. No, it's the same side. So the side here, so it says one too many. So forget about it. I'll just come back to what I said. When we have one too many, a new attribute is going to be added from the side of the many to the side of the one. So the side of the many, the artwork, we're going to have it in the artist. No. So the artwork is going to be having the artist. So this is basically what is going to happen. So not from the side of the many. It's going to be, this is the one that is going to be added to. It's going to be added in the relationship table to the side. So it's going to be, it's going to be coming from the side of the one. So this. So in here, when you have the many, this is the one that is going to have one artist name into the artwork, and not the opposite, an artwork title in the artist, because of this n here. And the justification is we don't want to have a column that we add in some table, and that column we don't want to have it multiple values in it. Every column should have one value. Yes.
The artist name, I think it was mentioned in the question.
What do you mean it was mentioned?
For exercise 4.
Yes.
Is it sometimes mentioned in the question, or the
what is
the artist name? Because in the question he said the title and the artist name and etc. The year and all of it. What I'm saying is, can it be mentioned in the question, or just from my experience it will be right for me?
I'm not sure to understand your question at all, because you said that the artist name is mentioned here. Okay, but are you talking about the relationship?
No.
This one in artwork?
Yeah. In the question he said for each piece there is an artist.
For each piece of work, the artist, the year it has been made, its unique title is okay.
So
and the price must be stored.
Yeah. So the artist name.
Yes.
It must be stored. So from what I understand from this question, that means there is a relationship between them.
Exactly.
And I need to put it in the mapping.
Well, it's just this. What this means, there's a relationship. Now, the relationship gives you this diagram. After this, then you have to look at the cardinality, because you don't know what kind of cardinality you have. Like if this was not 1 but was n, another thing would happen. It's another story. We're not going to be putting this inside artwork. This artist name is not going to be inside artwork, and we're going to see, because when you have many to many, a new relation, it's going something completely new is going to be added. So this does not mean that if it was mentioned that obviously it will be in the relation. It just says that there's a relationship, but the cardinality of that relationship is what is going to decide if this is going to be in the artwork or in the artist or maybe in a new entity. So now, this is not what we're going to be doing. We're going to go into the artwork and we will add the artist name. Now this is called a foreign key. A foreign key, we represent it like this, with this hashtag or the sharp key. I don't know. So what this means now a foreign key is a primary key in another table, but it makes the relationship. And now you see the importance of making this to be a number. Now that's what I told you, that the primary key or the key attribute, they better be a number. Why? Because you see, I'm going to have a lot of repetition in there, but this is a necessary repetition. This duplication is really necessary. I cannot just get rid of it, because if I remove this, I have no idea this artwork relates to which artist. My only way is to add this, and this will be my foreign key, and this foreign key is going to, even though it's a duplication, but it's a necessary duplication of data, because I'm repeating something, but it's necessary because I'd like to know for every item here which one it is related to. So you get the feeling when I tell you it's better to decide when you have two potential key attributes. If you have one that is a number and the other one that is a text, it's better to go for the number, because look now how many repetition of those is going to happen. But that's another story. So even if for something like this, you can decide, okay, you know what, the title is a text, I will add a new attribute just to make it a number, and this is going to be like my key. Even though this one, it should be unique, there's a way how to represent that in a database to mention that this title should be unique, but it's not the primary key. There's a way to do that, but I'm just telling you, we're going to see that later, inshallah. But for now, we don't care about this. As long as we have a primary key or a key attribute, that's fine. That's enough for us. But this is called a foreign key. A foreign key is a special. It's like, first of all, it's a primary key somewhere else. It's a primary key in another table. But the foreign key is doing something really important. It's not like the primary key does not allow repetitions, because it should allow repetitions. We will want it to allow repetitions. But it doesn't allow one thing. It does not allow you to put a value like this one that does not exist in the other table that it is related to. So when you do something like this, when you mention that this is a foreign key associated to this column in this table, before inserting any data in it, it will make the verification. It will check. This A9, do we have an artist called A9? And if it does find it, it's fine. If I have like some A9 somewhere, it's okay, you can do that. But if it happens that this A9 does not exist, it will not allow you to do that. It will tell you error, you cannot do that. So if you were inserting some information, it will prevent you from inserting that information. If the information was there, for example, like here, it was A1, and then you wanted to change it to A9, it will not allow you to do the change. It will stay as A1, because A1 exists here, but A9 doesn't. So if you try to add a new one, T5, whatever, and then you try to put A7 or A9, whatever, it will not allow you to do this, so it will stop, it will cancel this addition. Because this is what the foreign key does. And if it was like this before, and then you want to make a change to something like this, or A6, because A6 doesn't exist, it will prevent you from doing the change, and it will leave it as it was. That's how it works. So the foreign key is a primary key somewhere else, and it checks before you can put any value in it that it exists in the related table, in the related column of that table. That's what it does. The primary key does not allow you to have repetitions. The foreign key does not allow you to have a value that does not exist in the other table. Because it makes sense, because this is the link between the artwork and the artist. If this is broken, it makes this whole database useless. Because what if this was allowed, then I will have inconsistency in my database. Inconsistency in the database will result in a database that doesn't make sense. I have an artwork, T2. Who made that artwork? It's someone who's called A7. Do we have A7? Okay, what's his birthplace? What's his age? We don't know this guy. He doesn't exist as an artist. So it's not possible to be happening. So that's what the foreign key does. Is that okay? Easy, right? Not a big deal. So now we learned something. When you have one to many in the coordinated ratio, the one that has the side of the many will have a foreign key from the side of the one. So that's why we have the side of the one is the artist. The artist's key attribute is going to be the foreign key in the artwork relation. So this happens only when we have one to many. But when we have many to many, or sometimes we have one to one, we need to do other things. But let's work with this many to many now. So we have a lot of them. Let's say we have a customer that likes an artist. So we have one customer can like many artists, and many artists can be liked by many customers. Or I mean, one artist can be liked by many customers. I made the mistake of saying many at the beginning of the sentence, which is confusing, which is not right. Whenever you'd like to talk about the cardinality from each side, you have to start with one. One customer can like many artists as a maximum. And then one artist can be liked by many customers. So we have many to many. When we have many to many, we create a new relation. Which is going to be this like artist. I'm going just to give the same name just to make it clear that this is coming from that. And then when we have this like artist, okay, what is going to be inside of it is something really special. What is going to be inside of it is the key attribute from each one of them is going to be here. So I'm going to have a foreign key, which is the artist name. Let me be consistent. Not going to use them capital. Artist name. This is going to be a foreign key here. And then I'm going to also have the customer name. And that's it. But we need to have a key attribute or primary key, right? We need to have a key in this relation. Which one is going to be the key? Let me save this before I lose it again. And now, to help you take this decision and tell me which one is going to be that, I'm going to I'll keep the artist and then I'm going to add the name. So I'm going to call this customer, and this is the name of the customer. And then what else? In the customer we have address and amount. And I'm going to delete those to avoid confusion. And yes. So this is our customer, this is our artist, and we just added a new one because we would like to be able to know this artist or like artist. I don't remember what was it. Like artist. Like artist. Now this like artist will have only two columns. We said the artist name and then the artist, the customer name. And let's do it like this, and then same thing, and then merge them so we can see them. All right. Now this is not the customer. I'm just going to call this is C1 for customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, customer 4, etc. All right. Now, how to store this information? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put customer customer. Yeah. I'm going to put these here because I'd like it to be clear that this is. What is it called again? Foreign key. Yes, very good. So a foreign key now, that means I cannot put a value here that doesn't exist in here. and I cannot put a value here that does not exist in here. So now how can I mention, remember, this captures the relationship when we have one customer can like many artists, and one artist can be liked by many customers, which means I can what I need to have, if for example A1 it's liked by C2, and A1 again is liked by C1, and then A2 is liked by C4, and then A1 is also liked by C4, and nobody likes A3. Whatever. Now the question: can I make the artist name a primary key?
No, because
No.
reputation.
Because if I make it a primary key, I cannot repeat the A1 now. But I need to repeat because A1 might be liked by more than one. Okay, then can I make the customer name a primary key?
No.
Not again. So I will not be able to make each one of them individually a primary key. But what I will have to do,
Add one.
both of them is the primary key. I can add the new one, as you mentioned. We can add the new column and then make sure that it doesn't repeat, only put like 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5, etc. But that's adding extra information that I can avoid by just using this. Putting 2 columns as a primary key, which is something that is kind of new. I never talked about it. Before we were saying an attribute is just one information and one primary key is just one attribute. Now a primary key can be composed of many attributes, but it's still one primary key. Because in here, this is one primary key, but the one primary key has a rule. Each one individually, I don't care. But both of them repeating, I don't want that. So when I have both of these as a primary key, what I'm saying, each one of them, I don't care if it repeats. But I cannot allow to have A1 to be entered again and telling me that he's liked by C2. I have it already. I don't want this to be repeated. So this composite primary key, a primary key that is composed of more than one attribute, it can be 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, is still called one primary key. But the way it works now is different because the uniqueness is about all attributes at once. The repetition that is not going to be allowed is to repeat the combination of these two. So this combination exists already, so I'm not going to allow it. But if I have another combination, let's say A1, that is liked by C3, okay, that's fine. Because I don't have this anywhere else. And that's what this composite primary key is all about. So, and that's the rule actually. When you have this many to many, a new relation is added, and then the key attribute is the combination of all foreign keys from each relation table, so from each of those. So first of all, the foreign keys has to be coming from there, and then this is going to be, both of them are my primary key. Now when I put these two underlined, it does not mean that I have two primary keys, two key attributes. It's I have one key that is the combination of composed of two attributes. Yes.
Can be more than
It can be more than two. We can have a primary key composed of 3, 4, 7. There's no limit. The limit is what you need to do. And the thing when we put more than one is that individually it does not do anything. But the whole thing is what we don't want it to be repeated. So the combination is what we don't want to have it repeated. And that's what this is going to be. And it makes sense because it captures what we want it to capture. We want it to allow us to have one artist that have many customers who liked him, and we can have like one customer who likes many artists, like here. And that's what this is needed to be done. Any other thing is not going to be allowing us to correctly convert this to this, because we need to have many to many. So always when you have many to many, it means you have this kind of relationship. So you get it if we do some classify, for example. Classify, we will have to do artwork title. Does it make a difference to do the order? No, it doesn't make any difference. If we just change the order, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't matter. The information stays the same, so we don't care about the order. So artwork title, and then group name. And also, well, this is a foreign key, and both of them is my primary key. Actually, I like to put these as italic. So the foreign key, I put them italic so it's kind of clear. I just try to be consistent. And then same thing again between customer and group. Like group, so I'm going just to copy this one, it will be easier. Oh, maybe not. Like group, which is, then we have the group name, and then the customer name. Well, let me put this italic underlined, and then this bold. And this is how we convert this diagram to a set of relations. Now this is the intermediary step that is going to take us closer to generating the tables, because now every relation is going to be a table, every attribute is going to be a column, and then all I need to do, I need to specify the data type and maybe other things that we'll see later. So as you can see, we build it step by step, and then we're getting closer, inshallah. So now there's only one that we haven't seen so far, which is one-to-one, but this is something that requires more talking, more analysis. There's no clear rule as of like this many-to-many, one-to-many. It's clear. When you have many-to-many, new relationship. One-to-many, there's one foreign key somewhere, based on the one that has the many, from the one that has the many to the one that has the one. And then when we have one-to-one, well, it's not clear. There's some special things that need to be taken into consideration. We'll talk about it inshallah later. But so far, it's kind of straightforward. You just need to apply the rules. Every entity becomes a relation. Every attribute is going to be an attribute in that relation. If we have many potential key attributes, we need to choose one and make it the key attribute. And if we have many options, if we have to choose, it's better that we choose the numbers. Then we need to look at the relationships. By looking at the relationships, then we need to have a look at the cardinality ratio. If we have many to many, we create a new relation with foreign keys coming from different tables, different entities, and then both of them are going to be the primary key always. And if we have one too many, we're going to be putting one foreign key from the side of the many, in the side of the many, coming from the side of the one. And these are the rules.